Senate kasi they want Bongo and Bato to testify in the Quadcom. And then Bato, out of his, of course, Bato is a gentleman. Sabi niya hindi siya mag-launch ng sarili niyang hearing because it will obviously, alam natin ang mangyari. But Bongo shamelessly said, no, 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 I'm okay with it. And then Coco Pimentel is also now open to Senate hearing on the EJK issue. I was like, what's going on here in terms of legislative relations? Lower house, upper house.
Well, they can both conduct the EJK hearings, and I think it's very risky for Bato and Bongo uh, to agree to EJK hearings because you cannot control the people who will be attending. And I am sure people like Garma will be called also, and they will all repeat what they said.
Yari sila no. But yun nga do you feel that at some point they will feel compelled to testify at Quadcom? Mukhang malabo, no? It looks like
Well, they will not appear in the
kakatayin
House.
sila.
Yeah, but I think it was a tactical mistake for them to agree. I mean, looking at it from their point of view, because then you have the other side will have another chance to present people like Karma, and her testimony is very devastating.
My goodness. And there's more to come, no? Mas maraming mga police officials who know a lot, 'di ba, about yung mga inner workings na to. So, this could be the can of worms or Pandora's box situation, no? That the Garma could be the ultimate lock that opens the whole sa Pandora's box of what on earth was happening under Duterte. Now, let's transition Justice to kabilang team naman. Tapos na tayo sa Team Kadiliman. Let's talk again about itong PhilHealth fund issue. Because medyo nawala na siya sa headlines sa news, no? I mean, just to be honest, kasi nga laki tong Garma expose and all of that. Are you worried, Justice, that sa sobrang daming kababalagan na na-expose kay Duterte, hindi nyo ma-expose yung kababalagan ng kabila? I mean, what's going on here? So, sorry for being so direct. I mean, I have to ask it. Yeah.
Well, we had to come out because uh, this one is a very big issue, and I'm sure the Duterte group will use this during the campaign. And they already said, in fact, Harry Roque already said this is uh, anti-poor. What they're doing is uh, very anti-poor because this is the only chance for the poor to get health services. So this will become an election issue. It will not go away.
Wait, Harry Roque, nakita ko lang kay Topacio. Wait, where is Harry Roque? I mean, wait lang, ano bang natin dyan? Anong,
Well, he's trying to his side, but I think they will eventually catch him. But I understand that the wife already left the country.
Singapore? 'Di ba
Uh,
Singapore yung wife, 'di ba? Oo.
yeah,
Taray, taray. Um, yeah, I
but
don't know what.
but uh, Richard, the Duterte group will make this PhilHealth funds a campaign issue because this will resonate with the
Yeah,
massa.
absolutely. And also, I think Topacio the other day, columnist pala si Topacio ngayon. Ewan ko naman newspaper ang nag-hire na yan. But Topacio had something also about the Maharlika Fund. How do you feel, Justice, about the fact that paras tayo nag-criticize sa policies ni BBM na kasama natin itong mga taong to? Do you feel honored and privileged, Justice, that we have teammates from Team Davao joining us?
Well, the it happens, no, but we will have to uh, distinguish because we knew that the Duterte people will use this in the election, and but we said we just have to bring this matter to the Supreme Court and distinguish ourselves from those guys. No, but this is a terrible mistake by the administration removing the PhilHealth funds. This will give them a black eye in the elections, and I hope they see the consequences here.
Justice, sorry, there's a very important question I had to. Saan daw si De La Serna? A fugitive na rin ba yung yung supranational, yung assistant ni. Sorry,
I really don't know where he
these are
is.
important questions. I can't ignore them. So, ang dami mga tanong eh. I mean, Justice Napan,
He
every time
always appeared in the house whenever he was
umiyak-iyak na
called.
siya, di ba? Yun, I thought baka nagka-nervous breakdown na yung bata. I wish him the best. Sana maging piloto siya at you never know.
Yeah, yeah, and the young fellow has always been respectful of the committee of the Quadcom, and he tried to answer all the questions. Uh, so I think the poor guy is he really doesn't deserve this, but he's there.
But Justice, do you think he deserves yung unlimited access to joint bank account nila ni Harry?
Well, you know,
I mean, I'm
you
just saying, you never know. Maybe
well,
it
those
balances
are
out.
the benefits, but you just have to you take the the problems that accompany with the benefits.
Yeah, it comes, it comes with the perks, medyo high risk job to mga to. Kaya I was asking Ronald Liamas lahat. Ikaw, Ronald, kung meron kang conjugal account at pwede mag-withdraw anytime yung kabila, ano yung nature of relationship niyo, di ba? Tapos sabi ni Liamas, sagutin ko ba talaga, Richard, yung tanong mo? Hindi. Hindi mo sasagutin yan on the record, di ba? Um, just speaking of team kasamaan, I'm sorry, speaking of the other side of this equation, what was the latest intervention you made? Because the last time we had the conversation was about parang you're pushing for Supreme Court to hear the case earlier kasi January pa, di ba? Eh,
Well,
what do you want to happen now?
we want the Supreme Court to issue a TRO because
TRO, yeah, sorry, yeah, yeah.
they're transferring the funds, and there's a principle that you if the act is irreparable, the damage is irreparable, the court will issue a restraining order. And but although you can quantify the damage here because you're talking of 89.9 billion, but the amount is so huge that if that money is spent, you cannot recover that anymore because uh, Secretary Recto, who is supposed to return the money even if he did not benefit from it because his signature, his circular was the one that enabled the release. His assets will not be sufficient to even if he turns over his entire assets, it will not reach 89.9 billion. So
Yeah, yeah.
my point is that is irreparable. So the court should issue a temporary restraining order because once the funds are disbursed, it can never be recovered anymore.
So your argument essentially is that because we're talking about so much money that could be spent by the time the hearing will start next month, dapat may TRO na may preemptive
Yes. So
intervention.
if it's just a matter of 1 million pesos, well, you can always recover that from Secretary Recto. But if it's almost 90 billion, he won't be able to pay that.
Yeah. Um, how do you read the Marcos administration on this issue? Because there are some skeptical people. I think Riza Robles, I mean, expectedly, is also paying attention to a lot of issues about Marcos. As for instance, yung recently dun sa PCGG, right? Yung for Presidential Commission for Good Governance, it looks like the Marcoses are making some moves about some of the ill-gotten wealth that was appropriated by the government. I mean, aren't this and also the Poway one, the complex, mas malaki pa sa complex yata ni Kibuloy ito eh. How worrying are those developments? Are there rear action, sleazy moves by the Marcoses on the
Well,
sides that we have to pay attention to?
well, in the case of the one in Ilocos,
The
I think
Poway.
Poway, it's surprising that the Supreme Court was unanimous, not that it belongs to the government. So that's it. That's a big loss for them. But you can see in the other cases that the courts are now dismissing the cases for failure to prosecute. Huh? So, uh, well, is that because the Marcos is now in power? Well, the this will come to haunt us whether uh, it's because of the Marcoses are back in power. Uh, the courts have no recourse but to dismiss the cases. I mean, uh, we will know in the future what's really the real score, and it will not be good for the courts if the historical records will show that they bent backwards. No, but there's really a big problem because these have been there for a long time. Whatever administration we had, the cases have not moved. No, so uh,
Yun nga, yun nga, I'm wondering, Justice, if we're paying enough attention to that side of the equation, no? Kasi we're all on the Garma issue. I mean, I don't know I mean, I kind of understand probably yung thinking mo on this, Justice, but ako, of course, my case is mass murder is still the biggest evil to me, right? For me,
yeah,
the killings that
I,
happen,
I,
next
I,
level yan. Next level yan.
yeah, I
Corrupt.
agree with you. Yeah, I mean, killing people, that's no, no. The Because life can never be restored. No, you can never get back somebody who died already. You cannot. That's He's dead. He's gone forever. There's no compensation. You cannot. No matter what amount of money you have, you cannot return the life of that fellow. So that's the highest, of course. No, in our hierarchy of values, life has the highest value.
Yun nga, parang hierarchy of evil, if I can put it that way. Yung mass murder and drug war, I would put still it way on top. In fact, I got into hot waters because I wrote this piece about is Duterte the worst president we have had. So obviously, a lot of people said, why not Marcos Sr. or whatever, right? And I said, well, I mean, I think in first 4 years of Duterte, there was more EJK than the entire dictatorship period of Marcos, which was almost 2 decades, right? Uh,
Yes, I remember Shell Jokno, the lawyer of the uh, victims who brought the matter to the Supreme Court, quoted a resolution when I was still there in the Supreme Court uh, that resolution quoted that a report of the PNP that there were already at that time 25,000 people killed because of the drug war.
Deaths under investigation.
25,000.
Yeah. Deaths under
Yeah.
investigation. That's a technical term they use, no? I
Yeah,
mean,
when they said the killed because killed in the drug war, uh, they included everything, including those who allegedly were part of the drug syndicates were fighting each other. So it totaled to over 25,000, and that's in the resolution because that's admitted by the PNP. They made a report, an official report to the president. It was in the website, and we found it in the website. And we just quoted the website, the official report of the PNP that a total of more than 25,000 people have been killed in the war on drugs.
so Justice, I think that sets the predicate for this important part of our conversation. Um, Senator De Lima is now running for Congress. Chel Jokno is running for Congress. Not to mention a couple of great folks also running for the Senate. Kiko is trying to go back. Hindi ko natawag na Bam Aquino. Buff Aquino na. Medyo bata-bata na si Bam Aquino. Medyo nag-buff up na. So, what should be the position of the genuine opposition dito sa election na yan in terms of etong in-navigating etong dalawang nagbabanggaan dahil lahat may ano may baggage 'di ba? What should be the position here and how important it is to have the Delimas and the Chel Joknos of this world in the legislature, especially because many are expecting some big things to happen in the next Congress, including who knows, charter change, impeachment of Sara. What is your take on that, Justice, as a top leader in the One Sambayan coalition
Well,
movement?
when you run for the Senate, you look at your ranking in the surveys, and if you are way down, I mean, it will be practically impossible for you to win. So most of them went for party list in the House because you need only 300,000 votes if you are the number one nominee. And well, that's very easy to gather, no? So the problem is the national because the ticket of the uh, government right now is quite strong, and you have also the Duterte incumbents in the Senate. So very tight for the so-called genuine opposition to get in. Uh, the but of course, there are still candidates of the genuine opposition, but most of them have decided not to throw their hat into the ring. They decided to slid down to the House. So even they themselves acknowledge that it's an uphill battle. So uh, it's maybe we'll go to this process where the political dynasties will fight each other, and both of them will be weakened, and the third force can come in. But it's really it's sad that the two strongest parties are both belong to the political dynasties.
Right. Obviously, you can see it as a tactical retreat or realistic adjustment. Uh, but can Chel Jokno and Leila de Lima make significant difference if they were in Congress? I mean, we have seen with all of these hearings that, in fairness naman sa Congress, it can make quite a difference and catch national attention. Contrary to stereotypes of Congress as just House of Trapo and not much real hearings or activities happening.
Well, they can because they can speak also during committee hearings. They can ask questions, so they can make a big difference if they play it right. Although, of course, it's there are many of them there compared to 24 in the Senate. But I think they've decided to play it safe. I mean, I can see it's really very difficult for them to make it in the Senate now.
Justice, let's go to the last part of our discussion for today. Let's talk about the West Philippine Sea. What's the importance of the Typhoon missile system deployment to the Philippines? Because um, initially, both Philippines and the Pentagon were wishy-washy about this. Sabi nila gamitin sa balikatan, tapos hindi ginamit sa balikatan. Sinabi nila for logistical transportation purposes lang. And the next thing we know, it's still here. And then, more important now, we have Filipino officials saying, like General Bronner, na who knows, maybe we'll keep it forever. How important is the deployment of those missile systems, like Typhoon missile systems? And do you think we should have more of those even in the Philippines and acquire some of them ourselves?
Well, they serve as a deterrence, just like our BrahMos missiles, and this one have longer range, so they have a bigger they pay a bigger deterrence to China. So I think we should keep them if we can and acquire more of this uh, just to uh, for deterrence. It doesn't mean that we can beat China in a war, but China will think twice before it tries to invade us. No? So, and that's the value of this. It changes uh, the calculus on the part of the Chinese that whereas before they said it's just a walk in the park. Now it's no longer a walk in the park. Yeah, they will get a bloody nose, and that's what will prevent them from doing what they want to make the 10-dash line their national boundary. Because at the end of the day, that's really the bottom line. What's the all this? What's the end game of China? The end game of China is to make the 10-dash line their national boundary. That means we lose 80% of our exclusive economic zone. We lose all our island territories in the West Philippine Sea. That's really the bottom line there. And if we have these missiles, the Typhoon, the BrahMos, then it could deter China. It could delay them. It could stop them. But if we don't have this, then it's a walk in the park for the Chinese.
And weakness invites aggression, right? I mean, I
That's
think
right. Yeah.
that's what people don't understand. If you look weak, you're ripe for the picking, the more there'll be war. So I
And
think, yeah.
the President Xi has to show something before the 100th year anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party, and he has promised to retake Taiwan. And if he cannot retake Taiwan, we are the low-hanging fruit. And
It needs a punching bag. It needs a punching bag.
yeah, he needs a punching bag to tell the Chinese people, okay, we were not able to get number one objective, but we got our second objective.
just since the last time we talked, hindi na tuloy itong joint patrols with the US or US supporting our mission resupply patrols to the disputed futures. But in fairness, on some areas, there's some movements. I've been pushing for this for quite some time. Ito yung, why not US donate some of their relatively modern vessels that they're not using? So actually now there's a push in the US House of Representatives to give us a missile-guided cruiser. What do you think about that, considering that, it's not cheap to maintain some of these ones, especially the ones that may also need some extra expenditure? I think this is the Ticonderoga class.
Ticonderoga class
Deroga,
cruiser.
yes,
Well,
missile cruiser,
it's
yeah.
a huge ship,
Yeah,
and maybe you have about 40 missiles there, vertical launchers. So I don't know if that is appropriate for us.
mm,
Uh, what we need really are frigates, not cruisers.
yeah,
Uh, so I let the Navy decide whether that will
yeah.
help us or be a problem for us.
Ako naman kasi ang take ko dito is we just have to normalize US giving us some more valuable things in a sense that I feel baka this could, yeah, it's symbolic, it's potentially impractical, or actually many find it impractical, unless there's an all-out war or something that we're
Mm.
hopefully will not happen. But ang point ko lang kasi is, for instance, um you have former National Security Advisor of Trump writing this piece on Foreign Affairs magazine, Peace Through Strength, right? And he explicitly says we have to support the Philippines as much as we're supporting key allies like Israel. And Israel has been getting billions and billions of dollars of aid, defense aid throughout the years, and all of the state-of-the-art weapon systems. And the kind of enemies they're facing is nowhere close. They're facing non-state actors, militias, right? Compared to us, who are up against the biggest navy on earth, by some account. Don't you think that this kind of even symbolic or impractical donation